Hi, everyone. This is Lowell, and starting a new series here with you today. And I wanted to talk about my favorite composers, my favorite musicians throughout history. And the first one I wanted to talk to you about was J.S. Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach. There are a lot of things that I could say about him, and I'll keep this video fairly short. But I really appreciate the fact that Bach connected his music and the creation of his music and his skill and his life's work to his spiritual relationship with God. And he worshiped God through his creativity. Many people are just astounded at what he created and believe that it was truly divinely inspired. And he was a genius at what he did. He lived in a time where equal temperament was basically getting started, and so he used that tool or that platform to establish a lot of things in his creativity that became the foundation for composers up until today, several hundred years later, are still standing on the principles that he established in his own work and his own writing. You know, when he lived, he had really respect of just the few people in his own circle that surrounded him, his children and the students that he taught. But he was not widely known. He did his work in a small church. He lived in several cities, but he ended up spending most of his life in the city of Leipzig, and he was pretty much disrespected by the people he worked for. Had fairly regular controversies with them, and but he spent his life devoted to the church and to making music for the church and training, and much of his resources he created to train his students and his family. But he was a student of the Bible, and he once wrote in his Bible in an Old Testament passage where it talked about worship. I believe it was First Chronicles. But he wrote in his Bible, music's only purpose is for the recreation of the human spirit and for the glory of God. And so his whole reason for writing music was not fame. Obviously, it was not for the purpose of making a big name for himself, but it was for the purpose of glorifying God. And when he died, he was basically unknown as a musician. And then about 75 years later, Felix Mendelssohn discovered his work, or it had been enough people knew about him that it had been basically passed along. And they put on a concert one night of all of his material, and from that day forward, he became the great composer that we all know him worldwide. And so what motivated him was not more resources or more money or more notoriety. What motivated him was just simply giving his life to serve the message of Christianity and to serve. As a matter of fact, what he did with his music created a greater Christian influence than most preachers have, most people who actually taught sermons. His music embodied the teachings of Christianity and have gone globally. It's arguable that he possibly is one of the greatest evangelists to have ever lived. But I really respect Bach's work and his contribution to classical music and to all music, and a lot of musicians just had crazy lives. They were, they had a great gift and they had a great musical gift, but their lives were a total disaster. I really appreciate about Bach is that his life was together. He had a large family, and he was devoted as a husband, and he was a servant in the church. And I respect him as a person as well as a musician, and really appreciate the example that he set throughout all these years and all the generations that followed him.